Not going one. not that one.
Ready?
Yep.
Good.
Hi, everybody.
Hi.
There we go. Thank you. Okay. This meeting is being held in accordance with the New Jersey Open Public Meetings Act. Notice of this meeting was provided in the annual notice of meetings published in the Union County Local Source and the Newark Star Ledger on January 12, 2023. Said notice was posted on the municipal building as required by law, and a copy of this notice is made available through the office of the borough clerk. All contracts awarded by mayor and council must comply with the affirmative action requirements of PL 1975 C127. All fire exits are located in the directions I am indicating. If you are alerted for a fire, please move in a calm, orderly manner to the nearest smoke-free exit. Proper notice having been given, the borough clerk is directed to include this statement in the minutes of the meeting. Andrew, please call the roll.
Councilman Petrosky.
Here.
Councilman Johnson.
Present.
Councilman Signorello.
Here.
Councilman Rabina.
Here.
Councilwoman Lyons.
Here.
Councilman Patel.
Here.
Mayor Signorello.
Here.
All present, Mayor.
Andrew, please lead us in the opening prayer, followed by a pledge of allegiance.
Eternal God, grant us thy help in all our duties and perplexities. We ask for thy guidance. Give us thy protection in our dangers and sorrows. Grant us thy peace. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, there are no communications for consideration this evening. We do, however, have a very large crowd to recognize for the RPHS musical cast, crew, and staff. Doug, do you want to come? Anybody else?
So I just wanted to, recognize these guys. I used to take them ice skating, play dates, and all that stuff. That's how old I feel tonight. But I want to recognize you young girls and gals in the room tonight, saying so proud of what you guys do in the theater. I think to all of them in the last couple of years, and kind of remember the year the mayor came up on stage and he was answering all the questions. They had to kick him off the stage when everything went well. But my nephew Tyler was in the play a couple years ago. But Mr. Finizio was a superintendent here for many years and used to talk about the 3 A's, academics, arts, and athletics. And over the past couple years, we've recognized our sporting teams, and I'm proud of them. But I just want to let you know, all of us, I am proud of what you guys do. My first play, I said, am I at the high school or I'm on Broadway? But you guys have done a great job over the years. I don't remember all the plays this year. I was singing the Addams Family for about a week, the Creepy and the Crawly, whatever, on a week in my head. But wonderful job. I asked them to get a list, and we ran out of paper, and we had to restock. But that's all good. So. Oh yeah, he did tell me we ran it, but great job. You're a pride of Roselle Park. So, thank you so much. And Mr. Panetta, Doug, or whatever, whoever's here, we just want to recognize you. Keep up the good work. So.
Hold on. Yeah, hold on, Doug. I have nothing else to add other than the fact that when Doug and I were doing this, Doug had, his hair was in a very specific fashion, and if any of you kids haven't seen it yet, I encourage you to tease Doug until you see a picture of it. But the Panettas had a full mushroom cut, and then, did Lou have the half? Nick had half. And then Doug had a quarter. So if you can ever see the quarter mushroom cut, I strongly encourage you to chase Mr. Panetta for that image. That's all I have to add.
That's on the record. Thank you so much.
No, Doug, go. If you want to say anything. Yeah.
Guys, you know I'm proud of you. The town, everyone always comes out and supports, but it's always a pleasure to be recognized by the council. Very proud of you. That's enough.
Oh do you know who's here, or you just want to go down the list?
So what I'm going to do, just because we have certificates of recognition for all you guys, I'm going to give these to Mr. Panetta to hand out, just because it's going to be a logistical nightmare to hand out to all you guys right now. But I'll call your names up. I know everybody's not here, but if you hear your name come up, or in case we missed you, just come up anyway. I could see everybody's identified by their neat black T-shirts. I'd like one. It'd be cool if the mayor got one at some point. So I'll happy pay for it, but just make sure you save me one. So I'll call up the cast and crew. You guys come up when you hear your name, and we'll take a great big group picture if that sounds all right. Cool? Okay. So Allison Lentigua. Hi, Allison. Anna Walters. Come on, come back here. Yeah, Anna. Arcus Lena, I'm so sorry, I'm going to butcher these. Chem Idlin, there we go. Yep, got it. This one's the easy one. Aiden Negron. Just much taller than me now. That's cool. Makes me feel really great. Chloe Little. Cooper Crawford. Dalia El Sankari. Damian Maziski. Dana Gonzalez, Elizabeth Tuma, Gabriela Viallo, Isabel Lattori, Jack Struby, Jamie Stefanski, just keep it rolling, Jaden Rodriguez, Kanisha Patel, Carly Donnelly, Lauren Donnelly, Lucas Ruiz, Maddie Chalet Galetta, Matt Colon, Megan Nicole, Miriam Saman, Mia Cornell, Mia Farry, Shaylee Guerrero, Sophia Moya, almost done, Sophia Rodriguez, Sylvia Altman, and Yana Metaluz. It's the cast. I'm going to move this up so we got some room. And now for the crew. Angel D. Vivos Molina, Ava Griffin, Avery Verdejo, Cameron Harms, Christian Marte, Daniel Lopez Castillo, Franco Marcello, Giselle Pardon, Jadriel Berdicchia, Jaylee Pay, Jeremy Henry, Jesus Caraballo, Cameroon Ilyas, Logan Lahadi, Lucas Braga, Lucas Whiteside, Nema Toro. Keep those claps going. Natalie Quiano, Rai Garcia, Rhythm Patel, Sabrina Gagliardo, Sofia Tavares, and Yasmin Santos. Woo! Woo! The pro move next time is to tell everybody to hold their applause to the end. But this is a lesson learned for the mayor. We live and we learn. And then I got the orchestra. This is a generously shorter list. Alex Lee, Dhruv Bakshi, Gabrielle Fieri, Hannah Foy, and Hunter Heilman. And if I'm missing anybody or didn't say anybody's names, come on up. Sorry, bro. All right. These are for you guys. I'm going to let Mr. Panetta sweat it out, hand you guys the right one, because it's going to be a mess otherwise. One more round of applause for these guys. Okay, we're going to take a big group picture. We're going to call it a day. Short people with me. Short people with the mayor. Shorty. Shorty McCurry.
I think you hit the nail on the head. 78.
Oh, we did it. We had to order more of those certificates.
Okay.
I hadn't ordered those since before.
That way. Parents, tell us when you're done.
I order like packages of them because they come in like fives.
Oh.
Yeah.
Congratulations, Doug.
Oh my God, I forgot names. Isaiah Parmesan, Caitlin Schulte, Sanya Bakshi, Tansi Dudani. Oh my God, I'm so sorry, guys. I didn't realize there was a second page there. Belated round of applause. Really just a lot of rookie mistakes from the mayor today.
Year 5.
It's getting worse.
If it's not getting better now, it's not.
We're regressing.
Three votes you lost.
Could have been worse. I could have forgot them altogether.
I was actually going to tell you, there is a second page.
Okay, so we're going to continue with the boring stuff as everybody shuffles out. There are no meeting minutes for consideration this evening. May I have a motion that bills and payrolls be not read and passed for payment?
So move.
All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
May I have a motion to open the public portion on agenda items only?
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody like to come speak on agenda items? Anybody wants to speak on Mary Jane may do so now. I'm assuming there's folks that want to do that.
Hi, my name is Ed Rackler,
Address for the record, sir.
2 Linda Lane, Springfield, New Jersey.
Yep.
First I'd like to commend the mayor and the council for passing this bold ordinance. I feel like you guys are leading the way compared to other municipalities. You know, I've been kind of in this space for now a couple of years, and you guys are definitely ahead of the game. In regards to the specifics of the ordinance, it's unfortunately very restrictive, just due to, the main thing is number 2 here, 4,000 feet from another cannabis establishment. That unfortunately, since Breakwater is right in the middle of Westfield Ave and most of the zoning engulfs Westfield Ave, if you were to go west from Breakwater, you would actually go past, you would go out of Roselle Park. So it unfortunately doesn't really give you any availability going west. Going east, you'd go all the way up to McGee, and then there's a daycare center over there. So, virtually no reasonable.
So I don't actually
real estate.
look. I just real quick, and I hate to break you up, and I won't take up too much of your time. You do have 5 minutes. I've done the mapping. I think it takes you to Chestnut Street. But either way, the other thing. So this is.
And then going up Chestnut, if you're going 4,000 feet from, that's almost virtually a mile. A mile's like 5,200. I mean, if you're going up Chestnut Street from Breakwater, you're going to go all the way up to, I mapped this out, and all the way up to like Lincoln. So it almost, if you go just strictly by the ordinance, of course you could get a variance. I talked to zoning, but just by that alone, it's very restrictive. Add in that it needs to be 2,500 square feet. There's very minimal to no realistic property that would.
So hold on one sec. So keep going. I mean, I will look. The overriding thing there is. So I forget which. Do you mind actually popping up? Yeah, of course. Cool. And I'll let I'm blanking on. What's your name? Morgan. Do you want to come over here real quick? I'm blanking on how we worded it, but it's a D variance versus a C variance potentially would be needed, right? Yeah. Right. So you want to just go pop into the mic? Yeah, whatever. If you want to, just go pop into the mic for now. We just need your brain for right now, versus the map. So every application is going to have to go to the land use board,
Sure.
right? Because it's a conditional use, and the land use board can give relief in that area. And the way we've worded it, I'm blanking on the type of variance you need, but it's less imposing than the other type of variance, right? So it's one type of variance you need to provide, hey, there's public good for X, Y, and Z. This one's more of just provide reasoning why you need to do it, right? So there's some flexibility at the land use board. I'll be very transparent saying part of it's by design, right? We're a square mile town. We've had issues in the past where we've had a bunch of nail salons being right next to each other and a bunch of hair salons being next to each other. So it's trying to avoid running into each other. And quite frankly, also for you guys, right? I mean, how many potential retailers can a place sustain, right? So just real quick, do you know which variance you would have to get? Oh, sorry. Yeah, name and address for who you are. Yeah.
I'm here on behalf of CME.
Morgan, just press the middle button. Yep, should turn red.
Hi, I'm Morgan Astorino. I'm here on behalf of CME. Did you want me to provide clarification on the different conditional use standards?
Yeah, if you don't mind. Just
Sure.
well, unless there's anything else that you wanted to mention.
No, just, just the restricting in regards to distance from another dispensary, and also the actual size, 2,500 square feet, it really does limit. There's really, it really just kind of focuses on big players coming in from like an MSO, a multi-state organization, kind of like a local person like myself. It becomes much more difficult to get I'm just asking to potentially maybe reconsider the distance from another establishment, also the actual square footage of the place, for maybe.
Yeah, so if you don't mind, and you might not be equipped to answer this because we don't have our land use lawyer here, but so I know that the variance for the distance is not incredibly daunting if you're going for relief there. And in terms of size, right, I think part of why we've factored that in is, look, there's also a lot of requirements that you need to hit beyond size, right? So we're talking about guards, we're talking about proper security, right? So from small to big, whatever, like there's going to be a need for, I can talk, unfortunately, you cannot talk. You can come back up at the end of the meeting if you like. And we can talk more about this offline. I have a little bit of time after work, or after this. But a lot of this, quite frankly, is by design for the benefit of the borough, right? We want to make sure that when you come with enough size, right? You come with the required space that you would need. And look, Roselle Park isn't equipped to handle 7 dispensaries, right? There's probably 2, 3, maybe, right? Yeah. And let's take all that aside, right? Part of the reason why I'm open to this is because Elizabeth is doing it, Route 22 Union's doing it, right? So I think Springfield's doing it. So you're not only, Roselle, so you're not only competing against Roselle Park, you're competing against, the county at this point, right? So it's really to limit an overabundance potentially of applicants. But the one thing I'll leave you on is every single applicant is going to have to go through, we'll introduce at the next meeting, first off, our application process for a license. And then second, conditional approval through the land use board, right? So all of these things can be addressed at the land use board should conditions be met otherwise. And we can talk more about it offline, or you can come back up.
Sure.
Sorry to eat up your time.
No problem.
All right,
Sir.
cool. Do you want to just stick up in case there's any more? Just hang around?
Yeah.
Okay, cool, thanks. Anybody else would like to come speak on agenda items? It's been a long time. Come on up, why not? You know the drill.
I know the drill. Marianne Brenner, 141 Charlotte Terrace, of course. I'm going to talk about Ordinance 2729.
Sure.
First of all, the gentleman who just spoke, he lives in Springfield, so I know Springfield's getting one, so that shouldn't really have an effect on what happens in Roselle Park. We are going to be surrounded by these. My question, just off the top of my head, was why do we need one, aside from the culminative 5% tax?
It's only 2%.
Well, I mean, like 2, but then if you have any more of a space to grow, that's another 2% on that.
Yep.
So, I'm just saying that we're a small town.
Yep.
One of my questions is, are we ready for the problems that could possibly come with this, which is on the retail level?
Sure.
Which is public safety, town providing additional help. Also, a concern of mine was it is going to be probably just on Westfield Avenue or Chestnut Street because that's where the zones are. So public health-wise, if you look around at where all these other dispensaries are, and I have seen them and I am out there, and because I was prior law enforcement with a narcotic canine officer, you can walk anywhere now and the abundance of marijuana smoke that we're all inhaling now, whether we want to or not. We already did all this with having no smoking in public places. We've banned it there, so now we're going to say, oh, okay, we can have a dispensary. What makes us think that somebody's going to walk out and do this. Also, I think some of the things is it 7 days a week that this is going to be open to purchase? That's one of the things I saw in the ordinance. That's a little bit, but also you have to go to the Cannabis Regulatory Commission to get this license to sell to begin with, which is a long process. So this could be, to get open one of these dispensaries, which I'm not for at all, could be 2 years down the line. I mean, there's a big backlog of this, and we all know that. And I'm hoping it doesn't just get pushed through, state level wise. We already know there's zero evidence that cannabis does not lead to other narcotics. There is zero evidence that it does not. I will repeat that again. But there is evidence that it impedes cognitive function, which then you buy, you leave, and our police officers or our public has to deal with this, or, who else? But
So does a beer.
yeah, I mean, everybody has to deal with it. I don't know, where to set it up, but also the bottom line is marijuana is still legal on a federal level. Just because the state says we can, and other states have said we can, doesn't mean Roselle Park, 1 square mile, should have more than they need. And we have them in surrounding areas. I just don't see the need for it. Thank you.
Yeah, so I would take, if you want to stick around, you're more than welcome to, but I'm happy to answer some of these because I think the theme's going to come up again and again.
100 times.
So I would take that line of thinking a step further. If every other town's going to do it, why don't we make money off of it too, right? I would say that with all due respect to a lot of the points you've made, and again, going back to my points beforehand, this is incredibly restrictive of where it can be, right? To the point where I probably shouldn't even be saying how restrictive it is. We've done it within the confines of what we can do. We've zoned properly, right? So it's not spot zoning. But, we have considerations for being by a church. We have considerations by being by a school. And look, while it is not like for like, I think I'd be more hesitant to do this if we haven't seen a pretty smooth sailing road with medical in Roselle Park. I think Breakwater's done a really good job. Yeah, one. Correct, yeah. Yeah, and fair, right?
And not a large building either.
No, it's not, but it's going to get bigger. They're building a big one behind it, right?
Yeah, exactly. So, yes, behind it.
Yeah, I would say my biggest concern, so you can't smoke in public places, right? You just can't smoke in our parks, right?
And that could be an extra burden for us, health-wise or...
Understood, right? Like, so is secondhand nicotine smoke, right?
Yeah,
like, and you
sure.
could do that on Westfield Avenue, right?
Yeah.
But I would say my biggest concern of all this that I don't think you've mentioned is the places that I've been to, right? Personally investigating, checking this out, is there's tons of traffic at some of these places, right? Because there's so few. So I have no idea how this is going to look, right? That's why when it comes to things like parking spaces, you can see we require 35 parking spaces, right, to help mitigate a lot of that.
Yeah.
But further to all that, look, you bring up valid points about whether or not it's legal at a federal level. Right, I agree. You bring up valid points that you can get it elsewhere.
Yeah.
I would counter with, look, if Union, Roselle, Springfield, whoever else is getting a 2% excise tax, I want that too.
There you go.
Good timing. Boom. Anybody else about cannabis or otherwise? Madam Board of Ed member.
Hello, good evening. Jennifer McCarr, 217 Locust Street. I am here to address, then shed some light on the public health issue with the use of cannabis. I'd like to start by stating that permitting pot is one thing, promoting its use is another. In a panel conveyed by the National Academy of Medicine, the literature concluded these medical experts in a 468-page analytical review is as follows. It does not diminish the nausea associated with chemotherapy, as widely believed. There is very little known about the efficacy, dose, routes of administration, or side effects of commonly used and commercially available cannabis products in the U.S. There is insufficient evidence on whether it is good for epilepsy, Tourette's, ALS, Parkinson's, or IBS. The evidence we do have on whether it is effective for anxiety, dementia, or depression shows that it is probably not effective at all. The heart of the report are the numerous chapters that are concerned with the potential risks from use of cannabis. The research concluded in the report that use of cannabis does increase fatal car accidents. It also suggests that while this is also not conclusive, it does affect motivation and cognition. It also could affect academic achievement. The report often repeated urgently that we need proper studies on the health effects of cannabis on children, teens, pregnant women, and breastfeeding mothers. The panel of the 16 scientists called for an investigation on the pharmacokinetic and pharmacodynamic properties of cannabis, modes of delivery, different concentrations in various populations, including the dose-response relationships of cannabis and THC, which is the psychoactive ingredient in marijuana. The studies we do have information about is a relationship between pot smokers and grim criminal cases. Dr. Berenson, along with multiple psychiatrists and their peers, associate the mentally ill with smoking pot. I'll quote that. The worrisome association between cannabis and mental illness is that many people with serious psychiatric illness smoke lots of pot. Again, it's in quotes. The typical marijuana lobby response is that people with psychiatric issues use marijuana to self-medicate. The National Academy panel declares that cannabis use is likely to increase the risk of developing schizophrenia and other psychoses. The higher the use, the greater the risk. Dr. Eric Mesamore, a psychiatrist who specializes in neuropharmacology and in the treatment of schizophrenia, has been seeing a new kind of patient arise that are stable middle-class professionals. He attributes this rise with the recent increase in the use of marijuana. A surprisingly large number of these patients only use cannabis and no other drugs before their mental breaks. It is suggested that a rise in psychoses will result in a rise in violent crime. Lastly, in the Journal of Interpersonal Violence, 12,000 American high school students were surveyed. The writers of the paper assumed that the use of alcohol would be a predictor of violent behavior, and marijuana would predict the opposite. However, the survey concluded that the students who only use marijuana were 3 times more likely to be physically aggressive and aggressive than the abstainers. And the study also showed that it was only 2.5% with alcohol use. So in this, what it's trying to show is that it's an increase in marijuana use versus alcohol use. And lastly, while we simply don't know enough because there haven't been any systematic studies, multiple experts from various fields of psychopharma backgrounds do agree on the alarming risks linked to the use of cannabis. Thank you.
Cool. Anybody else? Joe, haircut's still looking good, man.
And yours is still flat. You're looking good.
It's I'm due for a haircut this weekend, so it's getting a little.
It's not as high as it usually is.
It's not as high as you. Name and address, please.
You're definitely
name and address,
to your
please.
advisors, so. Good job. Joe DiOrio, 824 Large Street, Roselle Park. I received this introduction of ordinance number 2729 just a few days ago, so I haven't really been able to digest all of it. From my quick read, it looks like there would be 5 permitted cannabis businesses under this ordinance.
Yeah, theoretically, if I'm summarizing. Oh, sorry.
If I'm wrong, just correct me.
Yeah, go ahead.
So 2 in the industrial, 2 in the B3, 1 in the B2?
So yeah, but the industrial would be limited to no sales. So it'd be cultivation.
Right.
Yeah.
That part I got. But actually, any activity, cannabis activity would happen in those zones. 2, 2, and 1 is basically what I counted. By making it a permitted use, does this remove the notice requirements? So for example, if a business wanted to move into one of these areas and they met all the requirements, do they have to provide the 200-foot notice requirements to the residents or the property owners around that business?
So Andrew can keep me honest, but I think by nature of the fact that they have to go to the land use board, wouldn't they have to?
It's a condition. It is a condition.
They're all conditional use. Every single one is conditional use.
So they're required to do that?
Yes.
They're required to submit a board application and provide a 200-foot listing of their application.
And a notice requirement to those folks,
Yes.
proof of it. Okay, the other question I had was, someone mentioned earlier that there was a map available.
Yeah, it's up here. Copies?
I also have copies here if anybody would like. They have buffers for childcare centers, schools, churches, parks. What's in the ordinance that it has to be 250 feet or 500 feet or 1,000 feet from? So I can pass those.
Right, I think I read in the ordinance that the buffer for childcare, churches, schools is 250 feet.
So it's 250 for, it's 500 for childcare centers, 500 for churches and parks, and 1,000 for schools.
Okay, then I'm reading a wrong section then, because in section 2B5, minimum, I'm sorry, 2B3. Okay, if you could just look into that, I don't want to, I have a few more questions. So I think what's going to be extremely helpful, because some of the zones that you have are right up against residential R1 zones. For example, the industrial zone you have on West Clay, right across the street you have an R1 residential zone. The concern is, are you really then giving the opportunity to have this particular type of business up against a single-family residential zone where you might not want something like that to occur? So,
Yeah, I guess I would just, so if you don't mind me responding to that, Joe, I think it's
Yeah.
interesting because, I mean, I think the industrial zone's in a weird area anyway, right?
well, Roselle Park has a mishmash of zoning.
yeah.
It's very difficult. So what I was going to put out there is, I see what you're trying to do. You know, the reasons right or wrong why we should have it or why we shouldn't have it is another debate.
Sure.
But from a planning perspective, would it be better to just say, instead of having it in existing zones that are already kind of crazy as it is,
Make an
create
overlay.
a zone?
Yeah. So,
What was the last thing you said? I'm sorry.
Just create a zone.
Oh, okay.
yeah, so we noodled that around. We would be, to my understanding, the first town that would actually be doing that.
You always want to be a leader.
So I would say the caution that I've had there, and this is, I'm not a lawyer, right? But the caution that obviously being first comes with risks legally, right? Whether or not you're zoned properly for it, whether or not it holds water in court is another question, right? So the idea has been dropped. I'll be transparent in saying it feels more like spot zoning than how we currently have it
You don't
set.
have to have like just one zone. You could have it in a couple of areas along Westfield Avenue where it's further removed from a residential
Yeah.
zone. And I mean, again, the reason being is that essentially you don't want to, I understand you don't want to take the risk of creating something new, but then you're creating the risk of something right across the street from a single family
Sure.
area.
Yeah.
And that's really not the intent, I'm thinking.
Yeah, I mean, I would say in general, I think, so if we could just hone in on the industrial section for a second. Look, the industrial sections is an awkward area, right? So you could make the same case that, let's just say Amazon wanted to put a micro warehouse there, theoretically. You could make the same argument that, like, do we really...
Forget, Mayor, with all due respect,
Yeah.
forget about the other arguments. Let's just focus on the cannabis issue.
Sure.
Because that's a more sensitive issue, I would think, in my opinion.
So, but in the industrial zone, you're not able to sell, right? You're able to grow and cultivate versus it's a warehouse essentially, right? Like there's nobody coming out there waiting in line to get something in the industrial zone.
Okay, so if I could just, okay.
Sorry.
Thank you.
I know it took up your time, but it's valid. I understand your point.
Here, could I just point something out?
Yep.
So one of the things I think that just kind of came up, there are different setback requirements for medical strictly versus recreational. It's the only thing I want to add. So that 250 foot would be applicable to medical,
Okay.
not recreational.
Got it. Hi.
Constance Quintella, 432 Walnut.
Looking very tan tonight, by the way.
Thank you. We got Jeff from Florida, so. So I'm here to speak also on ordinance 2729.
Sure.
So it's 1,000 feet from schools, which, just to put in perspective, is less than 7-Eleven is from the high school, correct?
Off the top of the dome, close to it.
1,029 feet to 7-Eleven.
Thank you.
Okay, no problem. So we're talking that close to the schools.
Yep.
So I'm not going to ask any questions. I'm just begging you guys to consider the families, the kids in the district. I realize we can go back and forth with marijuana is the same as alcohol. It is. Everyone has their own opinions, but we are a small town.
Yep.
We have families here.
Yep.
And we're talking about possibly opening 3 marijuana dispensaries for recreational use
Yep.
in Roselle Park.
Yep.
I know it will go over good with some people, but for families like myself or others in the district, this is not good. You know, this is something that I think would turn people away from the town of Roselle Park. And I don't think it's something that you want to leave as something that you did
Yep.
for the town of Roselle Park. So I beg that you guys reconsider this and please keep our town for families and safe and diverse for all our kids, but not like this.
Just a question, are you opposed to it wholesale or just the distance from the schools? Or is the distance
I'm
from the schools more of your reservation?
No, my reservation is in total.
Lock, stock, and
Yes,
barrel. Okay.
obviously the
Yeah.
schools is
Number-
a concern.
yeah,
right,
yeah, primary.
Number one.
Yeah.
I would be more open to putting it on the other side of Westfield where it's not so easily accessible to kids.
Yep.
I don't know if you see some of those kids walking out of the middle school,
Yeah.
but some of them could pass, some of them look older than me. They could definitely pass for 21.
Yeah.
And they will be in there with their
Sure.
fake IDs, buying marijuana and giving it to kids like my 14-year-old daughter. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I would just say just 2 things on that, if you don't mind me taking up some of your time.
Absolutely, go ahead.
So, look, having personally inspected some of these places, right?
Okay.
It's legal in New Jersey now. There is by state law, right? There needs to be a ID scanner there, right? So the fake ID thing should just hopefully be mitigated,
I'm
right?
sure you know this, but fake IDs are not always fake. They're usually from an
Somebody
older
else.
sibling.
Fair enough.
That scans.
I actually don't. I've never used a fake ID, proud to say. And the other thing I was going to say is I tend to understand where you're coming from. The only area that I think is zoned that would potentially be really close to a school is the ROB district, right?
Okay.
ROB district is a weird district in general. By nature of how we've set this up, I think it's highly unlikely that you would even see any applicants there because you need to have 35 parking spots, right? There's just nowhere that you could fit that, right? So we've done some thinking around this without wholesale saying no. I understand your concerns. I would just contend, look, if kids are going to want to get marijuana, they've already got somebody that they can get it from, not from a legal place, right? They can already get underage alcohol. I understand your point. I would say if your wish is to try and move it to Westfield Avenue as much as possible, I think by nature of how we've set this up without setting up a specific zone really drives business that way.
Okay.
Would be my gut reaction.
My wish would be to keep it out of Roselle.
No, 100%. Noted.
I realize that kids can get it, but saying that a kid can get it and then giving it easily accessible to them
Sure.
is 2 different things.
Understood.
Just keep that in mind. And
Fair enough.
please, I know everyone up here has families, kids that they work with. Like, please consider that when deciding.
Yep. Oh, and the last thing I want to say is, so this is a maximum from our zoning perspective.
Okay.
We also don't know how many licenses the state's going to allow Roselle Park to have, right? And I'll throw the state under the bus when they need to be thrown under the bus. There's so little clarity on that. Who knows, right? Now, I would guess, given our size, 3 is probably a stretch in terms of licenses anyway, right? But there's no clear rules around that yet. So there is some inherent, the state might just say, hey, Roselle Park gets 2 and that's it, right? Like, who knows? So
I think 2 medical dispensary or marijuana dispensaries in a 1-mile town's probably probably enough.
Yeah, fair. Noted. Okay, cool. Thank you,
All right,
Constance. I appreciate it.
thank you.
Yep. Marijuana train keeps rolling. Let's go. Choo choo.
Hi, Lucy Figueredo, 330 Sheridan Avenue.
Yep.
So you're right. I've gone to my doctor. I can't sleep. So he suggested to go to one. There's one on 22.
Yep.
And you're absolutely right. You go in, you have to give them your ID. They do. They actually inspect. I went in. I was overwhelmed. They actually, they tell you so much information on it. They research you. They tell you. I left because I was so confused. I had no clue what I was doing. I'm being honest. And I said, you know what? I'm not doing this. I'm taking my sleeping pills.
Yep.
So I do agree. It's it's a little much, you know. And I am going to tell you, you're absolutely right. If kids want it, There's a place in Kenilworth, right on Fatoot. It's grab and go.
Sure.
Okay. Well, the kids are going there. That's where they're buying weed.
Yeah.
The cops know it. Listen, everybody knows they're going there to buy it. Guess what? Nobody's doing anything about it. So
I'll call Kenilworth.
don't worry, I've called also.
Grab and go?
Guess what?
Okay,
They've
got
done
it, noted.
nothing. It's right by the gas station.
Got it. Noted.
So
Yep.
if kids want it, they're gonna get it. I mean, 4 is a bit much. I agree.
Sure.
And I know you have it right near my house. I would say the opposite way.
Well,
would be great.
I'm going to open one up right on Sheridan. It's going to be in between your house and Joe P's. No, I'm just
know
kidding.
what?
That's a joke. It's a joke. The one thing I was going to say is, agreed. I think although there can be relief granted at the land use board, and I know certain applicants are going to have issues with this, but the reason why the breadth of the distance between what you can have is so wide is because, yeah, on paper you could have 2 or 3. In reality, distance requirements are going to dictate otherwise. So,
No, and I have to say, I know 4 is much.
Yep.
But I mean, I can say that being a person that my doctor did recommend me to go, the security is very strict.
No.
And you're right. If I have an 18-year-old or a 21-year-old, yes, they can. They can go buy it for somebody else.
Yep.
But that's where the parents have to step in and protect your child.
Yep.
But
Thank you,
I think
Lucy.
4 is a lot.
Yep.
Thank you.
Have a good day. Anybody want to talk about anything else? What else is on the agenda? Capital budget? Anybody? We're doing some roads there. That's cool. I'm seeing nobody else? Huh? Okay, cool. I'm seeing no one else. May I have a motion to close the public portion on agenda items only?
So move.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, reports of departments, police chief not here. Ken, Andrew, you guys want to do anything?
Just real quick.
Looking very foreboding in all black, Ken.
Oh, thanks, Mayor.
Yeah. Foreboding's not usually a good thing, but
Just a friendly reminder, SOAR bills will be mailed out next week. They are due July 1st. And your second quarter tax bills are now late. Delinquent notices will be going out the end of this week. That's all I have, Mayor. Thank you.
thank you, Ken. Andrew?
Thank you, Mayor. I'll reserve most of my report for the next meeting, but I did want to make a note, something that kind of came to us today. There's been a lot of areas of town, and still a lot of areas of town that are undergoing or have ongoing utility work. Right now, the east side is a hot spot for that, so I don't have a lot of good news for the east side of town. But the west side of town, where you've been under construction for the good part of the last 3 years, the utility companies, through a partnership with the borough, will be doing roadway milling and paving starting next week on Thursday. That includes the entire balance of West Colfax Avenue, finally. That'll be from Laurel Avenue to Chestnut Street. There'll be a portion of West Roselle Avenue from Pine Street to Filbert Street. Elm Street from Sumner to Colfax, and Filbert Street from Sumner to Colfax. All of Butler Avenue, and then a portion of Meadow will be milled and paved curb to curb. I'm still waiting on the final schedule, and we will put that out as soon as I get it. Milling will start on Thursday. It will be followed by milling on Friday, weather permitting. Operations will stop for the holiday weekend and resume on Tuesday. The borough's made it clear that everything has to be off the street, and we've offered them space at the Department of Public Works to make sure that everything is off the street for the holiday weekend. And that's really it, Mayor. It is good news. It'll be the last little bit of construction for these areas, and hopefully be well worth the wait.
Thank you. Okay, may I have a motion to accept the reports of departments as submitted?
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, Andrew, please read ordinance number 2724 by title.
Yes, Mayor. Yes, Mayor. Ordinance 2724 is an ordinance for second reading and public hearing, an ordinance amending Chapter 7 entitled Traffic and establishing Section 45 to be entitled Vehicular Repairs on Public Streets.
May I have a motion to open the public hearing on ordinance number 2724? I forgot this is on the agenda. Anybody?
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody want to speak on this, plee? No? This is the second draft. Okay, cool. Well, you don't like it, or you have nothing to say?
Why are we asking questions? Are we asking
we have a motion to close the public hearing on ordinance number 2724?
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
May I have a motion to adopt ordinance number 2724?
So move.
Second.
Is there any discussion?
Yeah, can you just highlight the changes that was done from the intro, please?
Yes, Councilman. So the highlights, generally speaking, are the governing body established a delineation between heavy repairs and light repairs. What that basically did was it considered heavy repairs to be anything that was being worked on a vehicle for a time that's greater than 1 hour. Light repairs would be a time less than 1 hour. And the long and the short of it is that the borough will allow only light repairs on public streets. So if you're conducting vehicle work, not including washing your car, you can wash your car 24 hours a day on the street apparently. But for light repairs, you can do that for up to an hour on any public street. We did also amend the failure to comply and penalties portion of it. So instead of it being a hard line $500 per offense, it's up to $250 for the first offense. Obviously, there's layers of discretion involved in enforcement and then in the judicial process. And then for second and subsequent offenses, it would be up to $500 or a period of community of service.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? Call the roll, please.
Councilman Petrosky.
Yes.
Councilman Johnson.
Yes.
Councilman Signorello.
Yes.
Councilman Robina.
Yes.
Councilwoman Lyons.
Yes.
Councilman Patel.
Yes.
6 votes in the affirmative, Mayor. The ordinance is adopted.
Monumental day in Roselle Park. Andrew, please read.
Your baby.
I still think this is more controversial than marijuana. Read ordinance number 2726 by title.
Yes, Mayor. Ordinance 2726 is an ordinance for second reading and public hearing, an ordinance to exceed the municipal budget appropriation limits and establish a cap bank for calendar year 2023 pursuant to NJSA 48:4-4514.
May I have a motion to open the public hearing on ordinance number 2726?
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody want to come and speak on this? Madam Planner? Just kidding. Do I have a motion to close the public hearing on ordinance number 2726?
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I have a motion to adopt ordinance number 2726.
So move.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Andrew, please call the roll.
Councilman Petrosky.
Yes.
Councilman Johnson.
Yes.
Councilman Signorello.
Yes.
Councilman Robina.
Yes.
Councilwoman Lyons.
Yes.
Councilman Patel.
Yes.
6 votes in the affirmative, Mayor. The ordinance is adopted.
Please read ordinance number 2727 by title.
Yes, Mayor. Ordinance 2727 is an ordinance for second reading and public hearing, an ordinance amending Chapter 10, Section 4, Subsection 4.1 of the Code of the Borough of Roselle Park entitled Recreation Fees Enumerated to establish a fee schedule for grades K through 8 recreation flag football.
May I have a motion to open the public hearing on ordinance number 2727?
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Would anybody like to come up and speak on this? I'm seeing no one. May I have a motion to close the public hearing on ordinance number 2727?
So move.
Second.
Is there any discussion?
All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody else in
Aye.
favor? That sounds good. That sounds like a quorum right there. May I have a motion to adopt ordinance number 2727?
So move.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Andrew, please call the roll.
Councilman Petrosky.
Yes.
Councilman Johnson.
Yes.
Councilman Signorello.
Yes.
Councilman Robina.
Yes.
Councilwoman Lyons.
Yes.
Councilman Patel.
Yes.
6 votes in the affirmative, Mayor. The ordinance is adopted.
May I have a motion? Andrew, please read ordinance number 2728 by title.
Yes, Mayor. Ordinance 2728 is an ordinance for second reading and public hearing, a bond ordinance providing for various capital improvements by the Borough of Roselle Park, appropriating the aggregate amount of $2,196,000, therefore, including various grants in the aggregate amount of $750,990 expected to be received, and authorizing the issuance of $1,320,000 in bonds or notes of the borough to finance part of the cost thereof.
May I have a motion to open the public hearing on ordinance number 2728?
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody? Okay. May I have a motion to close the public hearing on ordinance number 2728?
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
May I have a motion to adopt ordinance number 2728?
So move.
Second.
Is there any discussion? I'll just say I think this is a tidy bond ordinance this year. We're doing less than we normally do, to have Ken not yell at me, so hope you're not mad, Ken. And I appreciate council's restraint. I think we have some big ticket items next year coming up. Parks, DPW plans that need to get finished, that are all going to have large price tags. So I think we're doing the right thing this year. Andrew, call the roll.
Councilman Petrosky.
Yes.
Councilman Johnson.
Yes.
Councilman Signorello.
Yes.
Councilman Rabina.
Yes.
Councilwoman Lyons.
Yes.
Councilman Patel.
Yes.
6 votes in the affirmative, Mayor. The ordinance is adopted.
And to the moment we'd all been waiting for, ordinance number 2729. Can you please read that by title, Andrew?
Yes, Mayor. Ordinance 2729 is an ordinance for introduction, an ordinance amending Chapter 40 of the Code of the Borough of Roselle Park so as to permit certain cannabis businesses as a conditional use within the B2 Central Business, B3 Arterial Business, and I Industrial Zone districts, and establishing a new Chapter 30 of the Code of the Borough of Roselle Park, implementing a cannabis transfer and user tax within the Borough of Roselle Park.
May I have a motion to approve ordinance number 2729 for introduction, refer the ordinance to the Municipal Land Use Board for review and recommendations pursuant to statute, and fix the date for second reading and public hearing as June 15th, 2023? Is
So move.
Second.
there any discussion? Yep.
Yes. Okay, so to looking at this map itself that we got, most of it I see it's gonna be on West Westfield Ave. Is this correct?
For the most part, yep.
Most part.
Yep.
Okay, so I would like to make a motion to table it to next meeting to include this map in the agenda, so like people know where exactly is this going.
Yeah, so there's a motion. Is there a second? It sounds like the motion failed.
Is that? Okay,
I don't know.
that's-
Just what else? What happens if there's no second?
There's no motion.
Okay, then the motion fails.
Okay.
Fails. All right, so.
I don't
Anything
have any other. No.
Okay. Any further discussion?
I do. I'm just gonna, I didn't know it was on. I'll just share my heart. I definitely am not for this at all, so I'm gonna just vote no across. And I did speak to you guys and let you know, so I just wanna, I don't feel that that's the way the town should go. You know, I personally think that, you know, even with money, and I do understand, I feel that it would come another way. So just wanted to share that.
Understood. Thank you, Councilwoman. Any further discussion? Yeah. Sorry, I forgot you were there. Hi.
Hi, I have like a few talking points to read through.
Sure.
So I just wanted to say for conditional use standards, all of them are conditional uses. So deviations for those specifically would require D3 variants. So that'd be things like license requirements,
Yep.
Number of establishments, expanding them, no alcohol, tobacco, on-site consumption. General standards would require C variances. So that's things like site plan approval, parking and traffic plans, impact statements, lighting plans, anything else that MLUB requires, setbacks, separation distances, off-street parking, hours of operations, et cetera. And then design standards would just require waivers. So that's things like air treatment, location of operation and storage, security plan. I know security plan was brought up earlier, so I just wanted to reiterate that requirements changed to reflect recreational cannabis regulations, which would require approval of the Roselle Park Police Department upon initial approval and renewed every 2 years. So more flexibility for the police department to amend the plan as changes arise, such as changes in cannabis regulations on the federal level.
Yep. Okay. Thank you very much. Yep.
I do have some discussion I wanted to.
Go ahead. Yeah.
I like the fact what Diorio brought up. Does this ROB is it 3? Are we saying 3 exactly? Because if so, I would like to make an amendment to 2. I don't see the need. That's like overkill. 3 is overkill at this point. We're 1.2 square miles. I'm for this. I'm not going to belabor. I argued this a year and a half ago or 2 years back when this first came out. This has a supermajority in the state of New Jersey. There's a lot of facts that refute half of the stuff that some of the, respectively, from some of the people that came up. I'm not going to belabor that already. I didn't hear anything new or exciting that wooed me. I will say, though, this is too many for 1.2 square miles.
So
I would like to make an amendment, if possible, where it says 1 per ROB. And there's 3 ROBs, not counting the one that's in Chestnut that has a buffer, so that's going to be blocked, of course. There's 3 that's all in the first ward, and what are we going to put all 3 in the first ward?
So I'm lost for a second. Hold on. So it would be, what page are you on, Councilman?
I'm looking at the recreational cannabis zoning, and then if you go to, can you pull up that? Where is that? Where it says the 1 per ROB?
What page?
What page is that? Okay, that one ROB. 16. Thank you. Yeah, so I would like to amend that to 2.
Wait, you're confusing me. So it's a total of 1 for the ROB zone?
Yeah, there's 3 ROBs that's not buffered out in the.
No, but that still counts as 1 for the entirety of the ROB.
It said 1 per ROB or 1?
No, 1 for the entirety of the ROB.
For the entire, for
Yeah,
all
yeah,
of the
yeah.
ROBs.
So it could be, so let me just, can I
Yeah,
can I
we
show
need to
you real
clarify
quick?
that, yeah.
Actually, I'll just do it on the big thing.
Yeah, no worries.
Just while the mayor's doing that, just to be clear, the ROB is one zone.
Yeah, yeah,
It can be in multiple places, but it is one zone.
Oh, okay. No, if that's the case, then we're good. It's not 3.
On page 16,
But just so
number 2.
everybody sees, right, so
That's 1.
there's an ROB here.
There's 4.
Yeah, there's like 3 little ROB spots.
Yeah.
If all of a sudden somebody says, okay, we're doing 1 ROB over here, that means nobody else can do anybody in the other ROB.
Oh, I got you. All right, so disregard that. I'll take that out.
So even if it's like the same thing with the B3
All right.
zone, the B3 zone has 2 sections, one side of town, the other side of town. So if one's on one side, the other's on the other side, that's 2 max.
Okay. Well, if that's the case, I got clarity. Thank you, because he mentioned there was 3. There was 3.
No,
and that's what I'm like, 3.
no.
Yikes.
That's a lot. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Question, a member of the
Thank
public did mention earlier about the proximity.
Sure.
From the 7-Eleven to the high school.
Yeah.
Which was what, 1,000 feet?
Yeah.
1,060 feet.
Yeah.
Any way to propose 1,500?
Yeah, I have no issue if you want to propose that.
If you make it out, second it.
I'll make the motion.
I'll
Change
second.
it to amend it to 1,500 from schools.
And I'll second that.
Okay. Andrew, call the roll? Do we need to re-advertise now?
No, there's no.
Oh, okay.
It's just a small amendment.
Okay.
We did a more egregious amendment last.
No, I mean, I don't, yeah, that's fine.
This is small.
You're only voting on the amendment. So you're voting to.
So
yeah,
make
to
it more
1,500.
distance.
Yeah.
Give him more distance.
So you could theoretically vote yes on this and vote no on the ordinance if you want to.
Strictly for recreational cannabis?
I think
Medical?
it's so the concern I would propose, so look, no kid is going to come if it's a cultivator that's just purely growing marijuana and distributing it. You can't go knock on the door and be like, hey, can I have some weed? Right? Like, it doesn't work that way. And there's strict regulations to make sure it doesn't work that way. So I would recommend, my recommendation would be for sales, distribution, whatever that class that is.
No, that
It would
makes sense. Yeah.
For class 5 retail, we would make it 1,500 feet.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That's fine.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's fine.
Okay.
So the motion is to amend that the distance has to be 1,500 feet from schools for
Class-
Class 5 retailers.
Perfect. Now we
The motion was made by Councilman Urbina, seconded by Councilman Johnson. G. Sorry, just bear with me here. We ready for the roll call?
Yep.
So this is a motion on the amendment. Councilman Petrosky.
Yes.
Councilman Johnson.
Yes.
Councilman Signorella.
Yes.
Councilman Urbina.
Yes.
Councilwoman Lyons.
Yes.
Councilman Patel.
Yes.
6 votes in the affirmative, Mayor. The amendment is agreed to.
Cool. Any further discussion?
We just need a motion. If there's not, you need a motion to introduce as amended.
May I have a motion to introduce as amended?
So moved.
Second.
Okay.
Okay, so
Do I entertain discussion now or no?
You can?
Is there any further discussion on the amended ordinance?
we're voting on the way it's proposed?
Yeah,
or-
so now we will be voting on, basically everything's the same, but now for sales,
Okay,
the class 5, it has to be 1,500
1,500
feet
feet, okay.
versus the 1,000 feet.
okay.
Okay, call the roll, Andrew.
Okay, this is on the introduction as amended. Councilman Petrosky.
Yes.
Councilman Johnson.
Yes.
Councilman Signorella.
Yes.
Councilman Urbina.
Yes.
Councilwoman Lyons.
No.
Councilman Patel.
No.
Mayor, that's 4 votes in the affirmative, 2 in the negative. The motion is agreed to, and the ordinance is introduced.
Okay. All matters listed with an asterisk are considered to be routine and non-controversial by the council and will be approved by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a member of the governing body so requests, in which case the item will be removed from the consent agenda and considered in its normal sequence on the agenda as part of the general orders. Go ahead, Andrew.
Yes, Mayor. Resolution 140-23 is requesting permission from the County of Union to close Chestnut Street from Charles Street to Grant Avenue on Tuesday, August 8th, 2023, from 4 p.m. to 10 p.m. for the 2023 National Night Out celebration. Resolution 141-23 is approving the time due calculation in terms of final payment for Madeline Calandro. And Resolution 142-23 is supporting the Click It or Ticket seatbelt mobilization of May 22nd, 2023 through June 4th, 2023.
Okay. Do any members wish to have any items removed from the consent agenda? Okay. May I have a motion to approve the resolutions remaining on the consent agenda?
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Reports of Borough Council committees. Councilman at large, do you want to start?
Sure. Just like to reiterate the happiness I've seen with the theater club tonight, and a wonderful job they've done in the past, especially this year with the Adams family. Last couple weeks, I've been doing a little planting, learning how to plant some lettuce and tomatoes the last couple of days. Not medical marijuana, whatever. So anyway,
Joke right now.
at Valley Road was enjoyed.
Morgan, you could head out. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
The other day and today, there's a little with some young kids at the middle school. I planted some lettuce today. Other than that, sorry to see, Jay, your things being canceled Saturday, but.
It's not being canceled.
Oh, yeah, rescheduled. So whatever, you could save your,
Can we keep that?
the date for that. Other than that, look, I've been just I want to remind some folks, please cut your grass, try to keep your property needy, and if you have an issue with someone in the neighborhood, there's a due process. Call the construction department. At this time of the year, it seems like we got the same folks that don't cut their grass, this or that, and I know the construction department is working on trying to alleviate the situation. We did I thank the DPW and administration to taking care of a piece of property on Walnut and Lincoln, which needed to get done. Other than that, if you need to get a hold of me, it's jsignorella@rosepark.net, and that's all I have, Mayor.
Yeah, go ahead, Andrew.
I'm sorry, Mayor. I just want to note, because I know everybody's looking at the maps. So based off of the amendment the governing body just adopted, that map is outdated now. So as soon as we have a new map, we will certainly circulate it and put it on the website. That's all, Mayor. Thank you.
Yep. Councilman Johnson.
Good evening, everybody. Mayor, council, residents. On May 8th, I had a meeting with our police chief, Dominic Freno, regarding traffic studies and public safety concerns in the First Ward. On May 9th, I attended the BOE meeting at the high school. On Friday, May 12th, I had a BOE/council liaison meeting with Dr. Kirkland discussing innovative ways we can work together in the best interest of the community as a whole. Also on May 12th, I attended the Roselle Park Environmental Commission installation of 2 new beds at our community garden, which was very nice, making our borough garden more fruitful one in nature. And lastly, on May 17th, I attended both the New Jersey Veterans General Caucus and the Diversity and Inclusion meetings. Now, at this time, I wanted to recognize the month of May as International Walk, Bike, and Roll to School Month. As the 2023 Governing Body School Board Liaison, I have been advocating to some of the schools the importance and benefits that can be received by participating in initiatives like Safe Routes to School or bike/pedestrian programs from Easy Ride. There is a link provided to residents on my Facebook page, or please just go to Easy Ride website to learn how your student can participate in the Golden Sneaker or Bike Charm Award. The deadline to submit your application is June 9th, 2023. The next exciting announcement that I would like to make is that the Roselle Park Diversity and Inclusion Committee will be presenting an event for residents and guests called Karaoke for Pride, which will be held at 7 p.m. on Thursday, June 8th, 2023 at Los Atos Restaurant. The address for that location is 147 West Westfield Ave in Roselle Park. There will be music, food, and plenty of giveaways, so please come. All are welcome. At this juncture, I would like to thank all residents that reached out to me regarding proper care of vegetational growth within and surrounding our drainage water basin / culvert systems in the First Ward. I was advised by the superintendent that our borough vegetation responsibilities, and I quote, moving forward will be on a schedule to be maintained weekly as needed. And Andrew, if you would like to elaborate, this is probably because we were trying to save money on the budget. Am I correct? At least that's what.
Right.
So
This
we're
is
doing it ourselves. We usually contract it out.
Right. We typically contract out lawn and grounds maintenance. This year we decided to bring that back in house with kind of the restructuring of DPW. So they're falling into a schedule now that'll become more apparent as time goes on.
But I just wanted to tell residents, just be patient. We're working on it, and it was just something new, so we're initiating a schedule, and DPW is on it. So thank you, Paul. Lastly, I would like to take this moment to inform the governing body that I wanted to discuss an important matter regarding our communication policies within the borough. I believe it would be in the best interest of the borough and would greatly benefit us to revise and update our phone, employee, and email communication policies. Additionally, I would like to propose that we invest in a phone network system capable of recording borough phone lines, or simply seek from our current vendor to see if we can add that feature. This measurement would serve as a deterrent against inappropriate communications towards residents and help prevent any unfounded accusations directed at employees. By implementing such a system, we can significantly improve the borough's relationship with the public. At this time, we currently have no social media policies, no recording phone line, no employee email policy, and an overall antiquated system currently in place needing some tender love and care. In fact, I remember when I first
Something, aren't we required to by law? It's not the full boat what you're asking for.
No, we need to. Trust me, everything needs to be revised. I went back and forth with Andrew for hours. This would just make my report even longer if I go into.
No, it's cool. I'm just if you guys can give me the 30 seconds on it. Yeah.
We have a social media archiving system so that anytime there's an interaction on social media, it
gets captured.
It captures it.
Yeah, because we have to for Oprah requirements, right?
Correct.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'm supportive of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it might cost a couple of coins more, with these vendors. But nevertheless, if you want to correlate it, it would be the same thing like a body camera. We trying to narrow down the disrespect level, and we're trying to mitigate and trying to get involved. And if that is happening, it may not even be happening. Sometimes residents are told things, unfortunately, by employees that unfortunately they don't have the ability to do, and people still could come off by taking it wrong, like, oh, they're not helping me, they're being, and then we could just, it makes investigating so much easier.
Yeah, no, I'm supportive of it broadly.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm sorry where I'm at. Please remember your voice matters, and as First Ward Councilman, I will always place the concerns of the residents in Roselle Park Borough first. If you need to get a hold of me, please call me at 908-303-1519, or you can email me, which is my favorite, gjohnson@rosellepark.net. Mayor, that concludes my report.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Petrosky.
Thank you, Mayor. First of all, I want to send my condolences out to Robert Susky's family and Francis Bolwich. May 10th, I attended the recreation meeting. On the 11th, I went to the Hometown Heroes meeting. They're going to have banners put on Chester Street and Westfield Avenue. There will be 57 to start with. So that'll be, they're targeting that it'll be ready for Memorial Day. So it'll be put on the new light poles on Chestnut Street, which there's 40, and there's 40 on Westfield Avenue. So 57 will supposedly be up by Memorial Day. The 15th, I attended the historical meeting. They're still looking for donations for the for the storage unit that they're renting. So if you want to, it's supposed to be on the website, so you can make your donations to the Historical Society. 17th, which was yesterday, I attended the Fire Department Memorial. As usual, Councilman, as you were former chief, I thought everything ran well last night. Yeah. And growing up in this town, there was a lot of former firemen that I knew, friends of mine's fathers and everything, and a few of my friends also that have passed away. So, it's always touching. Today, I attended the joint sewer meeting. We approved construction of contract from 2019. It's been out to bid 3 times already. No one bidded on it, so they finally got 3 bids this year. So we had approved it. Also, we approved the insurance renewal for this year. Memorial Day, we got the parade coming. Also, it marks that John F. Kennedy, our former president, will be 105 years old on that day. It's hard to believe growing up that he was so a young president, and time has passed. And to let everyone know, the Doughboy at the library will be 100 years old on September 3rd of this year. So it's, you can reach me at jpetrosky@rosellepark.net, 908-666-7821. That's my report, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilwoman.
Good evening, everyone. How's everybody doing? I want to say congratulations to Councilman Jay and Jackie, Julie, for baby Isaac.
Thank you.
The baby's here.
On Mother's Day.
On Mother's Day, and he is so cute. Thank you for showing us. But congratulations. It's always awesome to see, and Jackie's doing well, you said, so that's great. So old news, new news, and updates. Let's go. All right, so I attended a fundraiser for the Roselle Park High School class of 2024, and the main event is here right now. Okay. Mayor Joe against Joe Diorio. It was awesome. I was able to announce that match, and it was fun. It was like Superfly Snuka all over the place in that ring, and it was a pleasure to see. I told Gino Caruso that I want to join next year and try to see if I can go off the top rope. We'll see. But that was fun, and it was great. Chris Monroe really did a great job, so I commend him and everyone that was involved. It was really a great event. I went to Meridia the other night for their monthly gathering. It's just great to see residents. The highlight of that night for me was a little girl named Dyra. I always talk to this child. She's 9 years old, going on 30. And she has such wisdom. But she was telling me, ironically, actually, she goes to Land's Music School. And I just want to highlight them. It's a combination of a little bit of a story. Land's Music School, Juan is from Colombia. He's 22 years old, I think. He is located at 253 West Westfield Avenue. I visited the school. They have so many things going on, and they really, really want to be in the community. They want to display their talents in the community. So if anybody is having an event, if we are having an event, they want to actually really participate and really show their skills. So hopefully, I did speak to Rupin, and I'm going to talk to a couple of the other, either the rec center and the library, and they are going to be doing even a harmonica show. So let's keep an eye out for that. I did attend the Fireman Memorial Service. That was a beautiful service honoring the memory of our deceased members. It was a beautiful service. I attended the library board meeting. There's a lot of things going on at the library. Summer is coming. They do have a summer reading program starting on June 22nd. So if you do have kids, definitely sign them up for that. And they are also looking for donations, they are looking actually for some things. If I'll post this, Roselle Park Veterans Memorial is looking for donations for the summer reading program. So they're looking for gift cards to local restaurants, businesses, new toys, puzzles, crafts. So if anybody wants to donate, please drop it off at the library or call the library 908-245-2456. Coming up, let's see, I don't know. Okay, well, it's postponed, yes, on Saturday. We mentioned that. And the Memorial Day Parade, definitely come out for that. It's great to see everyone. And just a reminder, download the My Roselle Park app. I was on the phone with a resident today, and they had an issue, and I said, you could report the problem.
That's good. Nice.
I said, just
Don't call me.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
directly put it in the app.
I was very much so, like, push the button. But no, just as a reminder. And if you need to reach me, definitely give me a call, 908-726-8773, or email me, rlyons@rosellepark.net. Thanks.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Councilman Patel?
Yes. Good evening. On May 12th, I attended the installation of 2 new beds at the garden from the County of Union and Groundwork Elizabeth, where we planted veggies and learned about gardening. On May 16th, I attended a social event at Meridia where I got to network with the resident, and I updated them about the crosswalk being expected to be done by end of June from DOT. Last council meeting, I mentioned that the results of the traffic study done on Amsterdam Avenue and worked with the police chief in regards of tackling the issues about focusing on the 1% that were traveling above 36 miles an hour. After looking at the data, I saw a pattern of speeding around 7 a.m. and 1 to 3 p.m., so I asked the chief to have someone patrol during that time period. The police chief also told me that the borough is getting 2 new speeding radar units that not only records but also displays the speed. Lastly, the police chief asked me to remind all residents that if they notice someone speeding through the street, please report the vehicle to the non-emergency phone, 908-245-2300 of the Roselle Park Police Department. Yesterday, I attended the 84th Memorial Service for our deceased heroes at the Roselle Park Fire Department, and afterwards, I dropped off the flyers of the Amsterdam Avenue traffic study results and updating the residents about the traffic study results. As liaison to the Environmental Commission, the Environmental Commission photo ceremony and the garden opening day were both a success. Team Conley, who's the chairperson of the committee, will highlight a few things towards the end of the meeting. Feel free to watch that. I would like to highlight some of the events happening in town. Rose Park cycling event is postponed for a later date in June due to the weather condition. The New Jersey Motor Vehicle Commission Agency on the Wheels June registration will be posted on the Facebook page next week. For more details, please contact the Casano Center Community Center at 908-245-0666. On May 29th, the Borough of Rose Park will hold its annual Memorial Day Parade and service at 10 a.m. The registration is now open for the Borough Rose Park Springs 2023 Borough-wide garage sale. The form can be found on Borough's social media page or Rose Park website. It will be on June 10th and June 11th from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Bulk waste pickup will be on June 15 west side and June 16 east side. June 16, Pride Fest will be hosted at Iorio Deli from 6:30 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. For more information, email rosepark247@gmail.com. Lastly, I would like to remind residents to use my Roselle Park app for events, especially you get notifications, and report any concerns through the app. If you need to get in contact with me, you can email me at kpatel@rosellepark.net. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Rubina?
Thank you, Mayor. It'll be brief because the last week or so,
I get it.
you know what's happened.
All council people should have babies then. Let's go.
All right. May 12th, I joined the majority of council here over at the Environmental Commission at the community garden there on Valley Road.
May 14th, Mother's Day, so happy belated Mother's Day. I would have wished everybody a happy Mother's Day. However, that's when my wife's water broke and we rushed to the hospital, and it happened to be Mother's Day afternoon. We welcomed our son, Isaac Alexander, and our newest Roselle Park resident, so
Congratulations.
thank you. Today, I had joined Mayor Signorello, Councilman-at-Large Signorello, over at the middle school for the community garden grant ceremony, as they, along with RP Schools, were awarded raised beds as part of the 2023 Kids Dig In program. I was happy to help facilitate this grant, notifying the school district, putting it on their radar, and seeing that the middle school students were there and participating, creating an actual sensory-friendly garden there on site. So I want to thank everybody from the school district that was involved for applying, because we were one of 2 municipalities within the county that had yet to apply for this grant, and it's free money sitting on the table, and glad we finally went for it. As Clean Communities Liaison, I want to report the borough has been awarded $25,248.60 as part of the 2023 Clean Communities Grant Program. Grant funding helps offset the costs of our local efforts to keep our community clean. It's approximately $3,000 more than it was last year. This makes RP a clean, sustainable, and attractive community. This grant money goes towards our community cleanups and seasonal education programs, so I'd like to extend the thanks to Coordinator Rupen Shaw, Business Administrator Andrew Casais, and CFO Ken Blum. So thank you so much for your diligent work on this grant application. Now, talking about the May 20th event, the bike clinic, helmet giveaway, and our first ever tour to Roselle Park. Yeah, it's a bummer. Looks like we're going to get a 60 to 70% chance of rain, so...
How many residents do we have, registered folks?
Over 50.
Oh, it's pretty good, actually.
Yeah, it's
Oh, bummer.
close to 60.
Close to 60, thank you. But the thing is, we have it rescheduled, or we're looking at rescheduling it for Saturday, June 24th. I've already I've received feedback from the vendors that were supposed to join us, and they will be able to, and we've actually been able to pick up a couple more people. Easy Ride's going to be joining us as well. And speaking of Easy Ride, I know Councilman Johnson has done a great job over at Sherman School, getting them to come in. Just want to announce, we've heard a lot about the middle school and high school and kids riding bikes around town improperly, not obeying traffic laws. So we're going to get Easy Ride to come into the middle school on June 9th for a presentation. So it'll target our 5th and 6th graders. It'll talk more about pedestrian safety and bicycle safety for our 7th and 8th graders to make sure they're properly using our roadways. So happy to announce that. Last but not least, I was handling in the last couple weeks constituent concerns, and I'd like to thank our residents for reaching out and allowing me to help address their issues. The app is great, the app is fantastic, please feel free to use it, but I'm kind of old school, so feel free to pick up the phone, email me, reach out. If you're a 5th Ward resident, I can be reached at jrevine@rosellepark.net, 862-236-0019. Mayor, that concludes my report. Thank you. Mayor, I'm done.
Sorry, I was talking about bikeability and walkability, if it makes it any better. Yeah, we were actually just talking about, whatever, I'll just say it publicly. Thank you, Councilman. We got to do something about Westfield Avenue. It's got the corners, yellow line corners, where people should not be parking. It's probably more of a 1st Ward and 4th Ward issue than anything else. Like, I almost got ran over today, and it's not even necessarily always the driver's fault, but if somebody's parked in that yellow zone, they can't see me, I can't see them, right? Like, it's bad. So I think we might need to think about like getting some permanent.
The delineators.
Yeah, it's something. But I'll talk to Frino about that, and we'll figure it out. But it's bad. Yeah, and like the yellow striping's there, people just don't pay attention to it. But we can fix that. I don't have a ton to report. I just want to say I hope everybody can join us for Memorial Day. Bummed about the biking thing. Hopefully we can reschedule. Yes?
Got money for parks. I saw something.
Oh, yes. Yeah, thank you, State of New Jersey, for as much as I knock you for certain things that you do. I'm happy when you give us grant money. So we just got $86K for our Acker Park renovations. So a lot of that credit goes to Andrew and our first-time grant writers, Aubrey Group. They've been really actually killing it this year, getting us some good grant money, found money. So very happy we brought them on. Thank you for the reminder on that. So join us on Memorial Day. I just want to say thank you to Mayor Joe DiOrio. That was a lot of fun. I'm glad we can, wrestle a little bit. Unfortunately, everybody kept asking who won. We didn't really wrestle so much as partake in the wrestling event, and I would say we were all winners that night.
Oh.
I got that. There was like, who won? I'm like, I don't know, man. Nobody. the kids got money. I guess that's a win. So, but thank you for being a good sport about that. That was a lot of fun. Although, dude, you came too deep, right? Next time I know, I'll have Mayor Signorello signs and stuff, right? You were prepared to a level that I was not ready for. So, lesson learned. Other than that, I don't have a ton to report. MayorSig at rosellepark.net. I appreciate everybody's concern coming out about rec marijuana. I do think that I'll be very transparent in saying I don't think it's the first time we're going to be voting on this ordinance, even if it gets adopted as is, right? We see it in town again. People need to go. I mean, Carol, you could see it in other towns that your firm represents. There's a lot of adjustments that usually happen post that, right? And look, it's part because it's new for us. It's part because it's new for the state. And it's going to be a learning process. I will say I'm heartened by what we've seen so far from medical use, that we will do this in a controlled and meaningful way that's better for the borough. And then the other thing that we will have, which we'll introduce the next meeting, is obviously the licensing piece of this, which will be another level of making sure that people, when they apply, are qualified, are ready to go, and fit with the borough amongst a bunch of, parameters that we will define in the coming weeks. That's it. Mayor Sager, rosellepark.net. I threw out my agenda. Do I have a motion to open the second public portion on any items?
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody would like to come up and speak? Just a reminder, this one is 4 minutes.
Joe DiOrio, 824 Lodge Street. We did have a lot of fun that night.
That was good.
It was a good event.
This is where you're going to beat me up now?
No.
Okay, all right.
Calm down. I don't beat you up
Come
all
on,
the
Edge.
time.
I haven't done anything controversial in a while.
No, I'm just going back to the ordinance that was introduced tonight regarding recreational marijuana. And I was reading more of the ordinance. Now, going back to what was said earlier, from what I counted, industrial could have 2, B3 could have 2, B2 could have 1, ROB, from what I learned from what Councilman Johnson said, could have 1.
Yes.
But then there's a 4,000 square foot restrictions that you can't have one within the other. So essentially, if Breakwater gets the first one, where else would it go?
So again,
just if I may, because just from looking at the map and just looking at it and looking at the circles you have on the restricted areas, the only possibility I see where there could be room would be in the first ward, which would be in the B3 all the way towards the end of, close to the end of town, not all the way. Otherwise, I don't see where else it could be.
Yeah, again, I mean, so the land use board can grant relief there, should it be a fit, right? But again, it's partially by design, right? So.
Well, if they get it, then essentially everyone else is knocked out from getting one. So then you only have one.
Well, no. So let's just say, are you going to ask anything else?
Well, depending on what you say.
Oh, okay.
No, because I'm saying if we're talking about how many.
Yeah.
First of all, this map is very good.
Yeah.
I think what would be helpful, especially for businesses that may be looking at this.
We were just talking about that, where it's actually eligible.
Where you can actually
go.
go.
Yeah, we're going to make a second map that shows that.
Right.
But just to make a concrete example, so let's just say theoretically, right, there is a applicant that's so Breakwater's grandfathered in, right, as an adult treatment center or whatever it's called, alternative treatment center. Let's just say somebody comes in the B3 section, closer to whatever, they buy up the abandoned is it Dalton?
No, you're talking about
the dry cleaner?
Yeah, the dry cleaner. Right? I'm just making an example because it's an open spot, right?
Berwyn.
It's Berwyn, right? So that's technically, I think, within the 4,000 square feet, right? But if they are granted relief at the land use board and say, okay, it's 3,500, right? You get a pass on that.
So they could variance the restricted.
That's right. Yes.
Okay, so then the restricted area is only as good as the zoning board sticking to it.
That's right, but you still need to prove that it's an okay location, right? So it technically, the way I look at it is it gives more teeth to the land use board to say, you know, this fits and we're going to grant relief here or we're not, right?
Yes and no.
Yes,
I mean, only because if you wanted to look at it that way, then don't create the law, have them go through a variance process, create the licensing, but have them get a variance, have them comply with how everyone else tries to get a variance in this town, whether it's a single family, a business, industrial. I don't know. It just, you made it more clear.
Yeah.
So you can have more than one, because I'm just thinking visually.
Yeah, you can.
Breakwater would have one, and that's it, because you have 4,000 square feet.
Subject
But
to the land use board.
Right. So someone
giving
can come
relief.
in and say, okay, I can't meet the 4,000 square feet. It's 3,500 square feet.
Yeah.
Can I have it? So anyone looks at the application, okay, we'll grant you that variance on that issue.
That's right. Yep.
Okay. All right.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yep. No, it was easy. It was good. I compliment you more, so I get beat up less.
Yeah, just real quick on this issue again.
You need to introduce yourself again.
Ed Rackler, Tulin Lane, Springfield, New Jersey. So this was run by my attorney. So yeah, I mean, it was relayed to him that you potentially get a variance, but the issue is that Breakwater could come in and oppose this, and now you're in litigation, and to potentially even to present is significant obstacles. You have to get a security plan, you have to get a lighting plan, you have to get a site plan. So it's a significant amount of resources you're putting forward to maybe get it approved with the variance.
Yep.
So, you know, as per, you know, my legal counsel, you know, if it's going against the ordinance, then it's an uphill battle. It's already extremely difficult to get. So if you're going to try to get a variant, try to get municipal board on, try to get the council on, Breakwater could come in. Obviously, they would want the least amount of competition. So it's extremely difficult. I mean, this is acceptable in regards to the buffers for the school and for the church. That's understandable. But the 4,000 feet from already something that's centrally located essentially eliminates anything west on Westfield Ave, you know, completely, and very little, you know, like the other gentleman said, very little is available. I mean, that's just the reality of a town that's so small.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's a bold ordinance, I really do have to say, but the reality of something else coming in is extremely unlikely, you know.
So I would say, if you don't mind me taking up some of your time, right? So I would say, first off, and I can't speak to this, so look, Breakwater, so theoretically, if we grant relief in the term, and say somebody comes in that's 3,000 feet away from Breakwater, if we do that, it's our zoning and our land use board. Breakwater couldn't sue for that relief, could they?
I'm sorry, is Breakwater the
Breakwater's the existing medical center, right? Could they come in and sue? I mean, I guess it's all hypotheticals.
Well,
but-
that
they're gonna oppose
that happened in Jersey City.
They're going to pose this application.
In Jersey
Got it.
City, even though the council approved it, there was a school that came in and opposed it, and now they're in litigation. So
Yeah.
absolutely, they could come in.
Yeah,
So,
and I would say, and I'm really not trying to be spicy when I say this, but the rules are onerous for a reason, right? Like, I mean, we have, I would say every other day, somebody reaches out to me about cultivation, rec sales, whatever, right? And, you know, to your point, we're a square mile town, right? The onus is, the idea behind all of this, right? Like, we're crazy like a fox, I would like to think, is to say, we are going to do our screening process to make sure qualified individuals are here to get a license and to get support for a license from us. But also, I mean, this should have, these are, I would say still, as you can see, relatively controversial applications, right? And, you know, as much as I can be an egomaniac sometimes, I think the general public gets two bites of the apple here, right? So they get to come in and say, well, I like or don't like this application when it comes to mayor and council. And then they also get to have another bite of the apple when it comes to the land use board, even if it's approved, right? So, you know, with due respect, the goal here is the goal here is to make sure that we don't have a backlog of 1,000 applicants. The goal is to have, you know, qualified individuals come into Roselle Park and understand coming in that they're going to face two gauntlets, the mayor and council gauntlet and the land use board gauntlet, you know, and that's how I feel, as much as this can be controversial still, that's how I feel comfortable doing this as a mayor, you know.
no, the buffer that was extended to 1,500 is very reasonable, you know, that is, but just a 4,000 from another dispensary is, is just, it's unrealistic to have another.
But you do, Ed, you do realize that you're going to have to come into the land use board one way or the other. I could do no buffer.
I understand,
You're
but-
going to be there one way or the other.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
understandable, right, right.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, thanks.
Thank you. Yep. Hi.
Constance Quintella, 432 Walnut. So we're saying we're not strictly following the rule of staying away from 4,000 feet from other cannabis centers.
Yes.
Are we doing that same, there can be variance on the 1,500 feet from the school that was just passed?
So
The land use board.
we were actually just talking about this offline. The top of the dome answer is, and I will get you a better answer. I'm committing to this because it's something that, quite frankly, the gut reaction. And Carol is not a land use lawyer, but you can weigh in if you have another view. The state statute is the state statute, and I forget what the state statute is. I think it's 1,000, right? So I think in this case, the land use board could say, okay, it's 1,250, right? That's okay because it's still above the state statute, right? Very transparently, right? But it is another hurdle for them to overcome, right? So when they come, you as a citizen can say, okay, hey, this is 1,100, right? And when I was there talking about 1,500, this is what I wanted, right? Like, that's part of the reason why we put these things in there is so you can have a voice there, right? And if the land use board says, oh, well, Constance is right, we should stick to this.
Of course they will, no.
I mean, I don't know. They could,
Right.
Um,
But just so, I appreciate Councilman Joe Bennett making it further.
Yeah.
I mean, not great, but I appreciate
Yeah,
it.
but I will.
But that really.
But the short answer is, to be very transparent, our early read is you could theoretically they could give relief up to the state maximum, right? So if somebody comes in and wants a variance and say it's 1,200 feet, is that okay? Gut read is, without digging into it, is they can give that relief. So full transparency, you're not wrong there. Yeah.
Okay. When's the next land board meeting?
The next land, there's going to be a special one on this for the 31st.
Great.
And they'll be able to, but that's commentary for this as a whole, right? It's not a specific application. But you will be noticed, just like everybody else, especially if you sign up for the Roselle Park app, you'll see when the land use board meetings are. And those each, so to the further, each application here is a conditional application. So even if you're in that golden circle where you're 4,000 feet away, you're in the B3 zone, you're whatever, away from the schools, away from the churches, even if you clear all those hurdles, you still need to show up at the land use board.
Okay.
That make sense?
Yes, I just.
No, you wish the whole thing got failed.
No, I'm not saying that. It's just the rule, it sounds nice, that we're presenting rules, but they're not actually rules. You know what I mean? It's a little misleading.
Again,
but I appreciate the transparency.
Yeah. No, I wouldn't lie about it. It's the truth,
Right.
Yeah. So.
Okay.
But again, also in broadly, in most land use cases, with almost anything, right? Whether it's zoning, permitting, whatever. Yeah, you can come for a variance for anything, right? Like, I'll give you a perfect example. We're dealing with a use variance here, right? In the B2 zone for something that's not allowed. They're allowed to come state their case and say, we think they should be, right? You could just do that by law, right? So.
All right. Thank you.
Sorry.
I have a question to is the 35 parking spots in stone?
So again, all of these things, relief can be given so I'll give you an example, right? So potentially, right, when, and this predates both of us, predates most of these folks, the West Clay, what's it called? Mimi's.
The West Clay?
Yeah, the West Clay. Land, that was not special zoning, that was not a pilot, that went straight through the land use board, right? So there was a slew of variances that need to happen, one of which being parking, right? So I think there were some on-street parking considerations. So theoretically, let's just say, one pops up right over here, right next door. And they say, okay, well, we only got 15 spots. Can you give us credit for 10 on-street parking spots, right? Like, that's something the land use board can consider. But it is a high bar because we're starting here. So if there's any variations there, you land closer to what we want versus what we don't want, which is no parking. land use board expert after 5 years. Okay, any questions from the public? Oh, yes, more.
Hi, Lucy Figueredo, 330 Sheridan Avenue. So I have a question. So I know what Johnson said, you've been dealing with this for a year and a half, correct? Yep. Okay. So I know I've been here many times and asked you for about a couple of years, asked, can't you do anything for the kids? There's nothing in this town for the kids. So if you've been working on this for a year and a half to get 2%, why wouldn't you work on something else? You have a lot of free space that I can see in this map. You could do something for kids.
Yeah, show me where one of the free spaces is.
I don't know. Up here, you could do probably a park.
Where's that? You got to be more specific, Lucy, if you're going to come at me with
it
this.
says right there, R4. I don't know.
Yeah, so hold on. So I'm going to pause. Is that all you got?
Well, no, I'm just saying you could do other things for kids, correct?
No, 100%. And
Right.
I'll run off the list of things that we have been doing, right? And as a Board of Education member, you guys could do the same.
Absolutely.
So let me tell you what we have been working on. So this is going to be controversial, right? But we're looking for additional soccer fields, right? And we're looking to, right now, allow kids to at least practice at Hawthorne, right?
right.
Without the $1 million investment that
know.
costs, right? We just got a grant for Acker Park, which is going to cost $2 million to rehab, right? We're working on plans for Aldine Park, which is going to cost another $2 million. And here's where I'm going to get spicy. We are doing this without additional state aid year over year to the tune of $2 million,
I get
right?
it. No, that's not what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I know what you're saying. What I'm saying is I know this is what the plan is, and I get it.
Yep.
I'm not talking about parks. I'm talking about, like, you don't have an ice cream shop. You said that, Marini's coming in, they're going to put a restaurant. That hasn't happened
Lucy,
yet.
respectfully, there is, we've got former mayors here, we've got people that have been on council for years. I would love to open up Joe's Ice Cream Shop right now. It is not, and I've done outreach, right? I've done outreach to Starbucks, I've done outreach to Trader Joe's, I've done outreach to X, Y, and Z. There is no way that mayor and council, outside of doing redevelopment and being specific about what can be in those redevelopment zones, we can't by law force an ice cream shop to come here.
I get it. I get it. But I mean, I know Mimi's was supposed to, unfortunately, he passed away.
Passed away, yep.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm just putting it out there.
No,
That's
yeah,
it.
and I would say, look, it's also, quite transparently, part of the issue we have is legacy, property owners here, right? I mean, shoot, we were supposed to have a movie theater again, and then because of COVID, that went belly up, right? I mean, we have folks, and we've done this actually, former mayor and council, we did this before, that predate any of these guys. We fine empty stores now if you're not doing anything with your stores, right? $500 the first year, $1,500 the year after, $5,000 the year after that to encourage people to do that. We've got folks in Roselle Park that have owned their property since well before I was born and don't care if they run it at a loss because they live in California, they live somewhere else, and they'll use it as a tax write-off,
No,
right?
I get it. Like you even mentioned cleaners. I mean,
and
that's been down for years.
And by the way, right, like we have new businesses that struggle opening up right now just because of the layout of the downtown. And we're doing our work to the tune of, $800,000 this year to beautify the downtown and the downtown sidewalks. But we can only make it as attractive as we can make it. And we have done that. Before I got elected, it was a tripping hazard to walk in our municipal lots. We didn't have functioning meters, right? We've done steps to beautify and make the downtown attractive. We need to make sure that the private sector is stepping up. And we've done some of that too. I think joining the Greater Union Chamber of Commerce has been a step in the right direction. But Lucy, I'm going to be as direct as possible. We have, I'm going to finish this. Unfortunately, you can't talk anymore. But we can only make things attractive to move in. We cannot by law stipulate this is what you do. And we could incentivize people too. We can give people tax breaks to do that, right? I mean, heck, I'd love a Starbucks to come in here, but it's tough. The waffle shop didn't open up? What happened to the waffle shop?
And there's still like a lot of, there's still a lot of room.
What do you want?
I can talk about cannabis. I'm not growing it at the garden. Tim Coakley, 213 Charlotte, Chairman of the Environmental Commission. Thanks to those of you who were able to make it out on the 12th. We had a very successful renting out of the garden. We rented out 30 beds. Unfortunately, we only have 29, so I'm working on building the 30th as we speak. But very successful start to the year. I telegraphed this with you guys, but I've been running the commission now for just under a year. I respect all the time that everyone puts in to volunteer for any committee, any commission. I see probably why there's not a lot of folks left that were on the commission 2 or 3 years ago because of the time commitment it's taken for me. But I'm very enthusiastic about it. I love it. I love the support I get from everybody. Just the one thing I think that's been a real challenge this year has been the green team. So we have started out the year with six very enthusiastic members. We're down to 4 enthusiastic members out of, I believe, 20 slots that are designated in the ordinance.
Yep.
A lot of what the green team is designed for, again, not cannabis related, is things like education, advocacy, any kind of project you can think of in town that has some theme of sustainability. And we've seen a lot of great stuff they did in the past with Michelle Lamonto and others. But kind of the main thing I think that the green team has done in the past is get us certification with Sustainable Jersey that makes grant money available. That is where most of the grant money seems to be available these days, is environmental, infrastructure, you name it. Yep. I've looked at what they have to do to get that certification. It is a ton of documentation. It's a ton of work, and with 4 people, I can't in good conscience ask them to do that. So. Yep. Just my ask of council, mayor, there's 7 of you. I have 2 degrees in finance. If you can each get me 2 people, that's 14 people. That would get us up to 18.
I'll get you 3 people.
That would get us up to 19. And that, if we can get that, I don't need the most enthusiastic people that can give like 10 hours a week, but it would allow us probably to do Sustainable Jersey. It would also allow us to, think bigger about, some of the passions and events that we want to do, whether it's Earth Day, repair cafes. There's all kinds of really cool stuff that surrounding municipalities do because they have these big, robust organizations. So I appreciate your help with that. Any other thoughts you have around helping to educate us? Again, there's a ton of grant money out there. I know Aubrey Group is looking at the IRA, the forestry grants.
Yep.
The more we're all educated on that, the more I think we can help you guys, sniff out opportunities, even, potentially help with, how those are structured and what we're asking for.
I have and I was actually thinking about this on the walk here. Yes, I walk. That's very green. Thank you.
I thought about it.
I actually think, so my general experience with a lot of this, and I'm happy to task council, everybody come up with 2 people if you don't mind.
Your mom.
Come on, Joe. You got 2 people. Get Liz in. So I think we do better rallying around people for a concrete cause. Mm-hmm. And I have a concrete cause that you guys could take up and try to recruit off that. I'd love to see the Green Team or the Environmental Commission adopt our train station. There's a lot of folks that wanted to do this a couple years ago, and honestly, I'll be candid, it was like political pissing matches that just like when it made it go south. Fortunately, a lot of those players are no longer here. I would love to see you guys pick one cornerstone thing to say, we're recruiting Green Team people. We're getting $27 million for the train station, but we don't have that yet. And our train station needs TLC, right? Looking at Mary Ann there, who does lovely work for the library with flowers. We have flower pots over there, right? I think you're going to have much more success. We could do a rally at the train station, have a meet and greet at the train station. But if you pick one concrete thing to get people rallied around, I think you have a much higher chance of success of getting, initial inertia that way, in my experience, and then parlaying that into future endeavors. But we could talk more offline about that if you want to.
Sounds great.
Cool.
Thanks, guys.
Yep. That was a cogent response. That's what you get. 5 years of doing this. Anybody else? Come on. Dude, the Waffle House disappeared. It disappeared on us. It was there and then it was gone. Have a motion to close the public portion.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. There are no items for executive session. May I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Caleb,
meeting,
we're done.
everybody.
Caleb, we're done.